So far, with the first Spider-Man game and of course the follow-up Miles Morales game, Insomniac have treated us to some pretty cool villains and some really fun boss battles ranging from Kingpin, the Sinister Six, and Martin Lee, aka Mr. Negative, to Rhino, twice, the Tinkerer, the Prowler, and more. So that begs the question, who could we see as the main villains and the minor villains in the up-and-coming Marvel Spider-Man 2 game? Well, stick around because I'm going to cover everything from confirmed villains to rumoured villains and which of those villains are the main threats and which of those will be minor threats or side quest villains. So let's go ahead and get stuck in. Just a heads up, there will be some Spider-Man and Miles Morales spoilers in this video, so if you haven't finished both of those already, you might want to do that first before then coming back here. Now let's start with the obvious one, as it's already been confirmed from the teaser trailer from last year, and that is of course Venom. Now Venom, traditionally like in the movies, usually involves Eddie Brock becoming, let's say, infected by the symbiote. However, if you played both the first Spider-Man game and the Miles Morales game, you'll probably agree that Venom in Spider-Man 2 will in fact be Harry Osborn. So we've already learned from the previous two games that Harry is suspended in a tank of green fluid, and for a very brief moment you can see a symbiote-like shape attach itself to the glass, and at the end of Miles Morales we do learn that Norman has elected to free Harry from his green prison or health tank, so that could be the start of the Venom story in the next game. So, you remember that narrator of the Spider-Man 2 trailer whilst Peter and Miles are fending off a bunch of goons, wondering if there's anyone worthy enough to fight him or even beat him, before Venom then appears stating yes, and the trailer ends. Well, if you weren't totally sure who that voice was, it's highly likely that it's Kraven the Hunter. Now this could indicate that Kraven the Hunter is the game's main antagonist, as in the past comic book history of Spider-Man, Kraven actually sought out Spider-Man in search of more of a challenge, which certainly matches up to the narration in the trailer. And Kraven traditionally has superhuman strength, agility and senses, meaning he'd make for a great boss battle. So he could, and most likely will, have an army of hunters in the second Spider-Man game, which would make for an interesting storyline. Another thing that has been speculated is that we could see a team up with Venom, Peter and Miles after they've had a big fight and Peter's finally figured out the identity is in fact his best friend Harry. And in turn this could give us the option to actually play as Venom. How cool would that be? Now of course this is just totally rumours and speculation, but we could see Venom as the main antagonist in the first act of the game and then Kraven become the main antagonist from there onwards. What do you think? Now I'm fairly confident this is a villain that I'm pretty sure most of us want to see in the game, and that is Norman Osborn's Green Goblin. So in the past, Insomniac have teased the Green Goblin and planted a few seeds in the first installment from where things could possibly go next for Norman. In the first game, Norman was the mayor of New York and had a lot of power before things went south, and Spider-Man played a huge part in his downfall by revealing the truth about his actions, so that it could well be that Osborn is out for revenge. There are other Easter eggs in the game as well that reference a Green Goblin, like blueprint designs for the glider, suit of armour and other weapons. It would be a damn shame for these small details to be included and not give us the Green Goblin. After all, the Green Goblin is to Spider-Man as the Joker is to Batman, and the Joker in the Batman Arkham games, iconically played by Mark Hamill, was some of the best parts, so they'd be silly in my opinion not to include him. It would make for an epic story and an epic boss battle. So if you've played the entire game of Spider-Man Miles Morales, and let's be honest, if you're here you probably have, you should already know that the side missions in the game indicate that Kingpin is due to make a comeback with the crime boss threatening Miles' friends and loved ones. Kingpin will most likely once again be a smaller or minor villain in the sequel game, but an important one nonetheless. If Kingpin can somehow escape from the raft where he is currently housed, it would make for again one tough fight for Miles and potentially Peter. Another minor villain that we could get to see in the sequel is the Lizard. Now Kurt Connors did appear in the post-credit scenes of Miles Morales in his human form when we saw Norman Osborn demanding that he release his son Harry, as previously mentioned. Now it's certainly not beyond the realms of possibility that we could see Kurt Connors turn into the Green Lizard and make for a great minor antagonist with a good side story and a good boss battle. Now if you've played the first installment's DLC, The City That Never Sleeps, you will know that it's set up for Yuri to turn into the anti-hero Wraith. This could set up a few arguments with Peter about her willingness to kill villains. Ultimately, they could even end up teaming up and take down a bigger bad, perhaps Kingpin or another major or minor villain. There have been theories that Wraith could even be a playable character, which would be pretty damn cool as well. So there are a few theories around the sequel game, and one of my favourites was we have an epic opening boss battle with none other than the Sandman, where Peter and Miles have to team up now as equals to take him down. A Sandman boss battle would be awesome, and it's not exactly easy to defeat a villain who really can't take any damage. If we do see a Sandman in the second game, my prediction is we'll get a great boss battle against Flint Marco in his human form. Then once he's taken a significant amount of damage, he could then enter his second form by absorbing more sand and eventually becoming massive. I think having this as an opening sequence in the first boss battle in the second game would be so much fun, similar to how in the first game your intro villain was Kingpin and in Miles Morales game your intro boss battle was the Rhino. A final theory and another iconic Spider-Man villain would to be include Mysterio. In the comics, Wraith uses stolen tech from Mysterio, and personally I think having a Mysterio boss fight with some epic effects would make for such an exciting spectacle. I know a lot of Spider-Man fans would love to see him included. Based on some of the Halloween costumes in the first installment and a little bit of dialogue from Peter, Quentin Beck is a known character within Insomniac's universe, so an appearance from Mysterio wouldn't be beyond the realms of possibility. And that, folks, are some of the confirmed villains, possible minor villains, and villains and I'm sure many of us would love to see in the upcoming second installment of the Spider-Man games. Are there any other villains that I've missed off this list that you'd love to see as well? If there are, let me know in the comments below. And if you're still here, it'd be totally awesome if you could hit those like and subscribe buttons. Thank you for watching, and catch you next time.